Hello everyone and welcome back to our trades. In this video, I am going to analyze the Bitcoin price. It is Saturday, April the 12th of 2025. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, guys. I hope to be talking about crypto on the weekends because it's the only market that's moving on the weekends, guys. So, with that being said, guys, my name is R Trades. We are back here with another video. If you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and use coupon code RTRADES, all one word, on your next evaluation with Apex Trader Funding. Okay, guys, we are headed into the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to tell you my analysis starting from the top down. First, looking at the weekly time frame, guys, obviously Bitcoin is still in a long-term uptrend, all right, which I'm showing on the screen, to tend to make you believe that over the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin still wants to move higher. All right. So on the weekly time frame, some things that I want to point out is that Bitcoin made a high on the Monday of March of 2024. We can see that the market came back and is now retesting that level. All right. So you're following along on the screen. You can see that this was an area around 73,835. So we'll call it 74,000. This was an area of price that the market had previously used as resistance. That resistance has now turned into support. With that being said, obviously the past few weeks, starting in 2025, have seen a price decrease or a downtrend from a peak of 109,000 down to 74,000 peak to trough. That's a loss of 32% or $35,000. Okay, so the market had an all-time high that we reached at the start of 2025. We came back down to our March 2024 highs, and that resistance has now turned into support. We're still in a long-term or a weekly move higher. Let's go down to the daily chart, guys. On the daily chart, you can see that Bitcoin likes to spend long stretches of time in trading ranges before these short bursts, higher or lower. Bitcoin is not my favorite day trading vehicle, but it is the weekend, so that's why I'm analyzing. Bitcoin on the daily time frame, we can see that the market has been moving lower, all right, and we continue to move lower in a pretty well-defined downtrend. In fact, we can see this is basically a channel down. The market looks like it wants to break that trend higher, but as we speak right now on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is still moving lower. All right, our next key level, as we are now in a little bit of a move higher from Tuesday, the 8th of April, let's look at some of our key levels that Bitcoin needs to break in order to make to our next levels of resistance. Okay. So first, guys, let me start out by saying that until Bitcoin definitively closes above and breaks 88,500, I would still lean to the downside on Bitcoin as our daily trend remains lower. We oftentimes see that Bitcoin likes to break a level and then move back into a trading range. So I imagine if it follows that same behavior, wait until you see a confirmed break above 88,530. That's our next level of resistance. Until Bitcoin breaks and closes above 88,500, I would still be leaning to the short side on Bitcoin as we are on a daily trend down. All right, guys. If the market breaks above 88,530, the next level of resistance that I would look for is 95,000. All right, again, that's 95,000. One other thing you could look for is we recently had a trend lower, and if we take a standard deviation from trough to peak of that, we can see that a half standard deviation higher would take us up to about 96,000, and a full standard deviation would take us up to 103,000. Again, I'm assuming that this market is going to move lower until it breaks that resistance. All right. If the market moves above 95,000, the next level I would look for would be 99,000. The next level above that would be our all-time highs at 109,000. All right, so if Bitcoin really picks up steam, then I would expect us to go from resistance to resistance as we move higher. With that being said, I also want to get some downside targets, okay? So assuming that our daily downtrend on Bitcoin broadly continues, what are some levels of support that we're looking for? First and most obvious level is that 75,000 level. If the market breaks below 75,000 or 74,000, then I would expect that Bitcoin would move first to 67,000, which takes us roughly over to some lows that we formed in November of 2024, which I'm highlighting with these rectangles. The next move that I would look for would be a full standard deviation lower of our last move, which would take us down to 60,000, roughly in line with where our lows were on the 10th of October. If we move down 1.5 standard deviations, that would take us to our next level, which is about 53,000. And beyond that, we get down below 50,000. Okay. Where I'm looking right now, I would probably, I would assume that this trend is going to continue. It's a pretty well-defined downtrend. I'm not going to assume that the market's going to change directions until it tells me definitively that it's going to change directions. So as it stands right now, I think what happens is Bitcoin may get up to about 89,000 and kiss above this resistance without a clear break. Could get up to the 50% point on this daily chart here. We have a long wick, which is an ICT inefficient price delivery. So I do think that we get up to 86 or 87,000, which is slightly higher than where we are now. We could even get up to about 89,000, just turtle soup above the high that we made on the 24th of March. That would come in at 88,804. Where I think that Bitcoin is headed is to our first level of support right now, which is 75,000. So I don't think that we see a clean break and a clean change in direction to the upside. I think Bitcoin is going to continue to gradually move lower until I am proven otherwise. So as of right now, I think the daily trend is down. I expect that the market is going to go back down to about 75,000 or 74,500 using this first low as our area of support. If the market breaks above cleanly this 89,000, then I would look for 95,000. I don't foresee that happening right now because I don't see a clear change on the daily time frame. And so that's where we are on Bitcoin, guys. I'm not a Bitcoin buyer as of right now, and I think that the market will continue to go lower, probably go back down to that 74,500, which is our nearest level of support. That's where I think we're probably headed, even if we had a little bit higher first. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. If you like this kind of content on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on X and use coupon code RTRADES or use my affiliate link if you want to support this channel. This has been RTRADES back here with another video analyzing the Bitcoin price on a Saturday.